What's up, everybody? Yo, you know, you always hear on Fox and stuff like that, or whatever, the papers and stuff, they would say it was the Republicans that freed black slaves. It's true. But they never tell you they freed black slaves with absolutely nothing. You was a slave, you had no rights. And then you was free, you was set free with no home, no land, no food, no clothes, no money, no friends, and no education. So you were set free to do what? The Republicans freed slaves, and that was not the same Republican. The Republican Party back then is not the same Republican Party today. But they always say they freed black slaves, but they freed black slaves with nothing. And black people, you know, like they always bring up the subject. Well, slavery took place all over the world. Black people weren't the only ones that were slaves. It was the Irish that were slaves. They were searched, and it wasn't hung, it wasn't lynched, it wasn't beat, it wasn't burnt at the stake, and they were set free with some form of reparations. And if they wasn't set free with some form of reparations, they was white, and they can eventually blend in with other white people. There were 3 ways you could become a slave. It was 3 ways. Religious persecution, in debt, or you was a prisoner of war. Those are the only 3 ways you could become a slave. In debt, prisoner of war, or religious persecution. But once they started taking black slaves, color became a veritable. And like slaves had rights. But once they started taking black slaves, the Pope abandoned all slaves' well-being, and that's when they started rewriting the Bible. And that's how they told slaves how you would be treated, and you was cursed because you was black. Like I tell you, the Bible is constantly updated and re-edited to suit the modern day and time. And that's what they did with the Bible. They started updating it and re-edited it and told you how slaves would be treated. And it lasts for approximately 300 to 300. I don't know exactly how long it lasts, but it was close to 300 years. And it was handed down from parent to child, parent to child, parent to child, parent to child, parent to child. Like I said, you was released with nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You ain't had jack shit. You had nothing to do but turn. That's like being on a Monopoly board. You can't go nowhere on that Monopoly board without stepping on somebody else's property. So you had no choice but to turn around and go right back to where you came. And then when when black people started doing things for ourselves, the towns was burnt down. And you were terrorized by ingrown terrorists and shit like that. I'm not preaching hate out here. I'm not saying I'm not preaching hate, but I'm just trying to tell you. You know, you always say black slaves were set free by the Republicans, but they were set free with nothing. Absolutely nothing. And most of the stuff that you see, most of the early stuff was built by black slaves, because white people didn't believe in working next to black people, because that would have leveled the playing field and symbolized equality. And equality was unheard of back then. So I just thought I'd bring that up. I don't know why I brought that up. I brought that up because I was talking about relationships and shit like that. And I was just thinking about it. You know, because, you know, black people in America was robbed of everything. Even the language we speak ain't ours. But that's what I was saying. Like, and then, like I was saying, once slaves were set free, they didn't have nothing. Then you had immigrants start coming into the country. Immigrants coming to the country, and they was placed in front of black people that was here to help build the country. Those immigrants, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about the term people of color. People of color. I was talking about brown people, people of color, colored people, and minorities are all jaded and ambiguous terms. And those people, those immigrants are allowed to come here, and they're placed in front of black people, and they use that term, people of color, colored people, brown people, minorities, and poor people. See, black people was handicapped by what goes on in this country. Those other people were handicapped in their own country, but they're allowed to come to America to correct their poverty. And they get placed in front of black people, and they piggyback off of what black people go through. That's why you always see these plans, these these programs and stuff, they say that we're here to help black and minorities. We're here to help black and poor people. We're here to help black people and people of color. We're here to help black people and colored people. There's always, we're here to help black and Hispanics. Those people went through what they went through in their country, but they're allowed to come to America and they get placed in front of black people by using those jaded and ambiguous terms. But they didn't go through the shit black people went through. They wasn't terrorized. They wasn't lynched. They don't have 400 years of planned ignorance. You know. And like I was saying, black people are plant minorities. That's why black population never goes no higher than 13%. 12 to 13%. It never goes higher. But everybody else's population fluctuates. It goes up, goes down, but it's always higher than black people because they're allowed to come into the country. Where are more black people coming from? All right, y'all. Take it easy. I just thought I'd bring that up.